A wild bear saved a child, but what he did the next day shocked everyone. The village lay cradled in the embrace of ancient forests, where tall pines swayed gently to the rhythm of the wind, and the river whispered secrets only the woods could understand. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, dappling the dirt paths and the roofs of quaint cottages in golden flecks. Life here moved slowly, deliberately, as if the villagers themselves were in tune with the heartbeat of the wilderness. Among them was little Liam, a boy of 10 with wide, curious eyes and a spirit untamed as the forest surrounding him. Every morning, he would slip past the wooden fences, ignoring the calls of worried neighbors, to explore the woods that promised adventure at every turn. He loved to follow the riverbank, watch the deer grazing in the morning mist, and listen to the songs of birds that seemed to narrate the world in melodies only he could understand. But that morning felt different. There was a subtle stillness in the air, a tension that made even the chirping birds pause. Liam didn't notice it at first, his imagination consumed by the bright red berries dangling from a low bush. Yet the trees whispered secrets, the rustle of leaves that didn't belong to the wind, shadows that moved with a purpose. In the deeper parts of the forest, unseen eyes watched. A large shape shifted quietly among the trees, its powerful frame blending seamlessly with the dappled light. It was the forest's guardian, a wild bear strong and silent, whose very presence commanded respect. For years, the villagers had spoken of sightings, but none dared venture near. They didn't know that today, the bear's path would cross with the child's, and the events that would unfold would be etched into memory forever. Liam, unaware of the watcher nearby, laughed as he reached for a cluster of berries. The rustling grew louder, closer. A snap of a twig underfoot made him freeze. His heart skipped a beat. Somewhere in the forest, something moved, something immense. Fear pricked the edges of his excitement, but his curiosity outweighed caution. Little did he know, the peaceful village, the quiet river, and the gentle forest were about to become the stage for a story that no villager would ever forget. The forest had always been Liam's sanctuary, a place where his imagination ran free. But on that fateful morning, it became a labyrinth of shadows and whispers. The deeper he wandered, the heavier the air felt, as if the trees themselves were holding their breath. Birds flew silently above, their wings slicing the sky in eerie precision. Something was wrong, though Liam didn't yet realize it. As he rounded a bend near the river, a low growl rumbled through the underbrush. Liam froze, his small hands clutching the berry bush as his pulse quickened. The sound wasn't far, and it carried an unmistakable weight of power. Something large and dangerous was moving toward him. Panic surged, and for the first time that day, curiosity fled. A shadow loomed from between the trees, the bear. But not in a way Liam had imagined. This bear was different from the stories whispered in the village. Its eyes glimmered not with menace, but alert intelligence, scanning the surroundings with precision. Liam didn't know whether to run or stay, but before he could decide, a sharp crack echoed from a fallen branch, startling both boy and beast. Suddenly, from behind the thick brambles, a pack of wild dogs emerged, snarling and circling. Liam's heart leapt into his throat. He stumbled back, frozen with terror. But the bear reacted instantly. It charged, a blur of fur and power, scattering the dogs with forceful swipes and a deafening roar. Liam watched in awe as the creature protected him, standing between the boy and danger with unwavering courage. The dogs retreated, whimpering and defeated, leaving a tense silence hanging over the forest. Liam's fear began to fade, replaced by a strange sense of gratitude and wonder. The bear, once a mysterious figure of the woods, now seemed like a guardian, an unspoken bond forming between boy and beast. When the sun began its descent, casting golden rays through the trees, Liam knew he had survived a peril he couldn't have imagined. And deep in his heart, he felt a silent promise, that this encounter was just the beginning of something extraordinary. The forest was alive in ways Liam had never noticed before. Every rustle, every bird call, and every shimmer of sunlight through the leaves seemed sharper, more vivid, as if the world itself had taken notice of the bond forming between him and the bear. At first, the bear kept its distance, watching Liam with cautious curiosity. But Liam, with the gentle patience of a child who knew the value of trust, began leaving small offerings, a handful of berries, a piece of bread, even a worn scarf tied around a low branch. Day after day, he approached the creature, his heartbeat steady and deliberate, careful not to startle it. Slowly, the bear began to respond. Its steps grew less hesitant, its gaze softer, until one evening it approached Liam, sniffing his outstretched hand before sitting down beside him. Liam laughed quietly, a sound of pure wonder, and reached out to touch the coarse fur. The warmth beneath his fingertips was like sunlight against a cold stone, surprising, comforting, and alive. They shared quiet days by the river, Liam skipping stones while the bear watched intently, occasionally dipping a paw into the water as if to mimic him. He whispered stories into the breeze, tales of school, dreams of adventure, even fears he hadn't told anyone else. And somehow, the bear listened. Somehow, it seemed to understand. The villagers had warned him to stay away from wild animals. But Liam didn't feel fear anymore. He felt connection, a bond that transcended words. The bear was no longer just a forest creature. It was a companion, a protector, a friend who had entered his life at a moment of danger and now refused to leave. Evenings were the most magical. As the sun sank behind the hills, casting long shadows through the trees, Liam would lie on the soft grass, the bear resting its massive head against his legs. Stars began to shimmer above, mirrored by the bear's quiet, attentive eyes. And in that serene silence, Liam knew something profound, that some friendships are forged not by choice, but by fate. This bond, fragile yet unbreakable, would define the days to come. And though neither could speak the same language, both understood one truth: they were no longer alone. The forest had never felt so ominous. The wind whispered through the trees like a warning, and Liam's footsteps felt heavier than usual. He had grown accustomed to the bear's presence, relying on its quiet, steady companionship. But that sense of safety was about to be challenged. One afternoon, while exploring a dense thicket near the river, Liam heard a sudden commotion. Branches snapped violently, and a deep growl rolled through the air. A stranger had entered the woods, a poacher with traps and nets, drawn by the very bear that had become Liam's friend. Fear surged through Liam like electricity, but before he could react, the bear emerged from the undergrowth, its massive frame blocking the path. The poacher froze, startled by the bear's sheer size and intensity. Liam's heart pounded as he realized that the animal he had come to trust implicitly was now protecting him. Every muscle in its body coiled like a spring, ready to defend, while its eyes met Liam's with an unspoken question: "Trust me." Liam swallowed his fear and took a cautious step back, letting the bear take the lead. With a ferocious roar that echoed through the forest, the bear charged, forcing the poacher to retreat. Liam watched in awe as his friend, his guardian, turned the threat away without harm to either of them. As silence returned, the bear padded back to Liam's side, brushing gently against him as if to reassure him. Liam knelt, wrapping his arms around its massive neck, feeling the steady thrum of its heart beneath his palms. The test had been terrifying, but it had also cemented something incredible: trust born from courage, loyalty, and mutual respect. That night, as the stars began to pierce the dark canopy above, Liam understood the depth of their bond. The forest was no longer a place of fear. It was a sanctuary, a realm where friendship could survive even the most dangerous trials. And while threats would come again, Liam knew they would face them together, united by a trust stronger than words, stronger than fear, stronger than the wilderness itself. The forest slept under a silver moon, but the peace was deceptive. Liam had gone to bed in his small cabin at the edge of the woods, the bear curled outside like a silent guardian. Hours later, a scream cut through the night, shattering the quiet. Liam's heart jumped. The voice belonged to his younger sister, Emma. He rushed into the dark, guided only by moonlight and the faint crunch of leaves beneath his feet. The bear was already there, its massive silhouette moving with surprising agility. Ahead, shadows danced across the clearing. A wildfire had ignited, likely from a stray spark from a nearby campfire. Flames licked the trees, crackling and sending sparks into the night sky. Liam froze in panic, realizing Emma was trapped near the burning underbrush. The bear didn't hesitate. With a low, commanding growl, it charged toward the flames, breaking through the smaller fires to reach her. Liam followed closely, shouting her name, as the heat seared his skin and smoke filled his lungs. The bear reached Emma, nudging her gently, guiding her along a safe path back to the edge of the clearing. Liam grabbed her hand, and together, with the bear by their side, they ran through the thickening smoke. The forest seemed alive with fire and fear, but also with the unbreakable bond that had grown between boy and beast. When they finally emerged into the cool night air, safe and unscathed, Liam collapsed to his knees, tears streaming down his face. The bear stood nearby, panting, its eyes reflecting the flames that were now behind them. Liam touched its massive paw, whispering words of gratitude and awe. That night was more than survival. It was a testament to courage, loyalty, and love that transcended species. The fire had tested them, but the bear had proven its devotion, and Liam's heart knew a truth he would never forget. Some bonds are forged not in calm, but in the fiercest trials of life. The forest, scarred but enduring, stood as a witness to a friendship that no flame, no fear, could ever destroy. Dawn broke over the forest in a soft, golden haze. The night's fire had burned out, leaving behind charred trees and smoldering earth, but life had returned to the woods. Birds cautiously began their morning songs, and the crisp air smelled of smoke and new beginnings. Liam, still trembling from the night's ordeal, stepped outside the cabin. Emma clung to his side, her small hand gripping his tightly. The bear, their silent guardian, emerged from the shadows of the forest, majestic and calm. Liam's heart swelled as he realized the bear had not left, not even after the danger had passed. Word of the night's heroism spread through the nearby town quickly. Neighbors gathered near the cabin, whispering in awe about the wild bear that had saved a child and guided them through the inferno. Reporters, photographers, and wildlife officials arrived, but Liam's eyes never left the bear. It wasn't fame or recognition it sought, only the quiet bond forged through trust, courage, and countless shared moments in the forest. As the crowd watched, the bear slowly approached Liam, lowering its massive head. He reached out, and for a moment, time seemed to freeze. Their eyes met, and in that gaze, a lifetime of unspoken gratitude passed between them. Liam understood, as he never had before, that true friendship knew no boundaries, not species, not fear, not even life and death. Emma whispered softly, "He came back. He really came back." Liam nodded, tears glistening in his eyes. Around them, the forest began its slow recovery, new shoots sprouting through the blackened earth, a symbol that life, like friendship, always finds a way. The bear, after one final nuzzle to Liam and Emma, retreated back into the forest, but the bond remained. From that morning forward, the family would always remember the night when courage met loyalty, when the wild had chosen to save them, and when a bear had taught them the true meaning of love and devotion. Even as the years passed, the story was told and retold. The night a wild bear saved a child, the night it returned, and the miraculous morning when the world, for just a moment, felt enchanted by the unbreakable bonds of the heart.